I lost my limb.
Biosecurity chemicals are counterfeit.
In 1 week, we lost 21,000 chicken.
The problem of counterfeit, as we've discovered for many years now, is one that ranges from every single product we use every day. We as human beings who consume various products from different vendors must therefore take more caution and decide on what products we shall be consuming, us, our relatives and friends. We've also discovered that counterfeit takes away both our wealth and health. Wealth because we end up spending a fortune on these products that either turn up not to be durable or actually not to do what exactly we bought them for. Now, on this special program, as we address counterfeit, brought to you by the Anti-Counterfeit Network Africa, we focus on health and talk to the ladies. The ladies use various products every single day, from hair products to skin products, you can name them. But recently, an alarming headline has come to our attention when it comes down to sanitary towels. How much attention have the ladies paid to these, and how much impact is it having on their health? People in business are probably making a fortune, and those in genuine business are losing the business. But for the ladies, how much caution have you put out there to make sure every single sanitary towel you use every single month is actually healthy? We have a big panel to discuss this one. I'm your host, Andrew Kabura, and because it affects everyone, as long as you're a lady, it's a big discussion. Do join us. That panel is next. Thank you for watching this special program and welcome aboard as well as we continue once again talking about one of the biggest problems on the planet today. Like we've explained in most of our episodes, it's a problem that is affecting both our wealth and health. On a bigger platform, it is taking down economies because so many people are investing in so many businesses only to realize that everything is counterfeit. That means you either don't sell or you're found out and everyone shuns your shop. Now today on the show, we have a very delicate topic that we are talking about, a topic that has been discussed but only behind the curtains. So now we are bringing it in front on this special edition, a show that is brought to you by the Anti-Counterfeit Network Africa. My name is Andrew Kabura and I have a big panel to discuss ladies' affairs. When it comes down to sanitary towels, how safe are you? Have you bought one today? Did you buy one yesterday? Or are you planning to send someone to get you a pair tomorrow? You better be safe. Make sure you don't buy something that is counterfeit. But quickly introduce my panel. I'll start off with Mr. Fred Muwema, who is a practicing lawyer, always on the panel with us. Also Director, Legal and Corporate Affairs at ACN, which is the Anti-Counterfeit Network. Fred, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I look at the topic we're discussing today and I'm left embarrassed that this topic has come out this late after all these years. The ladies out there who are our sisters, our wives, our girlfriends, our friends, our cousins, are using so many products every single day. The big question is, how many of those products are counterfeit? And maybe if we could explain it now, in how much trouble are these ladies?
Thank you, Andrew. First of all, just by the composition of the panel, you see that ladies are not arguing their case for themselves. I mean, we should have had only ladies here to articulate their case, but most of them prefer to suffer in silence. The issue for today is sanitary pads, but ladies are taking in much more in terms of accessories than just sanitary pads. I mean, from the lipstick they put on to the shampoo they use, the lotions that they use, and other cosmetics. All these are prone to faking. And the biggest problem is that these products that the ladies use have a unique quality of being in direct contact with the skin. And the skin being the largest breathing organ, it takes in everything straight into the bloodstream. So no wonder we have an upsurge of cancers in many of the young ladies these days, even the older ones, reproductive health issues. So I think this is a topic where every lady out there should tune in and contribute to the solutions.
And probably not just the ladies, because what's quite interesting about today's topic and products that ladies consume is that indirectly they affect the men. Eventually, they affect the men. We talk about lipstick, eventually it affects the men as well. So there's so many
Well,
ways
I
of-
don't know how, but I can tell you that the studies show that maybe 10 up to 15% of whatever lipstick a woman applies, she swallows it. So if a guy kisses the lady, maybe he swallows some 30%, I think, depending on the way he engages. But definitely it is something that affects the divide.
Let me turn to the lady on set today, Miss Helga Nabakoo, the Sales and Marketing Manager, Capstone Investments Limited. Let's start from the top. What do you do?
We manufacture and distribute sanitary pads, Secrets and Lily's brands in Uganda.
How much trouble are you in? Because from a management perspective, we talk counterfeit now, and the ladies out there will tell you so many options, so many options. How many of those are safe?
Actually, very few of the pads on the market in Uganda are safe because very few of those pads come in through the right channels. Most of them have not been tested. Most of them, all they are doing is providing a cheaper solution because the people that they are bringing them to, that's what they can afford. So for as long as they cannot afford what has been tested and it's been priced according to what it has been, what it has cost us to bring in, they'll go for the cheaper version without looking at it in the long term. As long as it can solve the problem right there, they'll pick it up.
Shall definitely get into deeper discussion about that, on how genuine most of these pads are and how easily they are getting into the country and what effect they might have on you. But talking about the effect in terms of the implications of using them, we're joined by a doctor, and we are super, super pleased to have you, Dr. Spire Kigunddu, who is a gynecologist at Kisubi Hospital. Thank you very much for coming to the show. We talk about ladies' products. We talk about delicate bodies and delicate body parts when it comes down to the ladies. The first question I really want to throw to you is, what makes the female genital part so vulnerable that it's such a big debate worldwide?
Thanks, Andrew, for hosting me here. It is such an interesting topic because for me, genital issues are my daily bread. This is what we normally get all the time. To come to the gist of your question, a female genital tract is very unique and disadvantaged at the same time because it has attributes which would ideally make it vulnerable to infections and all the things my colleagues have talked about. But first of all, I want to say that the female genital tract is designed in a way that it is an open system. I always tell my clients that they're disadvantaged in a way that the genital tract is exposed to the external environment and its pollutants. It's an open system in a way that whatever goes in can easily end up in the abdominal cavity because from the vaginal introitus, which is the opening, into the uterus, right direct to the tubes, and everything can easily spill over into the abdominal cavity. That's why you easily, these days, get things like PID, pelvic inflammatory disease, urinary tract infections, because the urethra, which is the small tube that carries urine, is located right in the female genital tract. So whatever is exposed to it will easily carry the infection direct to the urinary system, and that's delicate. Then the other thing is it's being skin. You know, skin makes about 70%. It's the largest organ on the body. For the genital tract, it's more delicate in a way that it has what you call mucous membrane, a delicate mucous membrane, which has got a very big blood supply. The absorptive capacity of that mucous membrane is so high that it can absorb up to more than 60% of whatever is exposed to it.
Oh, there you go. Quick biology lesson. Counsel, if I quickly came to you and went back to regulation, and this is a general question. It's probably a question I could ask for every episode of the show. We don't manufacture most of the products that we've talked about on this show, but we have them on the market, which makes the consumer out there wonder how safe they are. So the question I really want to put to you is, how do all these products end up on the market? Yet we have bodies that are supposed to look out for quality, standards, and we have customs folks who are supposed to check all this stuff at the border. Is it a problem with regulation, or do we turn a blind eye and let everything through? What's the problem? How do we get all this stuff into our economy?
And there's a breakdown of regulation, enforcement of regulation. It is not that we do not have laws that provide a gate to stop entry of fakes. From the East African level, we are part of the East African community, and as partner states, the 5 countries have a regulatory framework for goods coming into this market. It is not that we do not have regulation or law. Like I've always said, the problem is in the enforcement. And how I wish the enforcement officers or guys with standards can hear what the doctor just said. We actually have the laws. I just carried just one example here. We have national standards on sanitary towels. And I will not read the whole of it, but one of the provisions says that all materials for sanitary towels, all materials, dyes, chemicals used in the manufacture of sanitary towels shall not cause any undesirable effects on the skin and the health of the person using them. The law is there, and they go ahead to talk about the absorbent fillers and the protective barriers and so on. So why we have these fakes in the form of sanitary pads coming is because there is a failure, in my view. I'll blame it firstly on UNBS. I know UNBS always says that when goods come in, the interest of customs is first to collect taxes. So they do not allow them to exercise their mandate of checking the quality of the goods, and therefore having the power to seize and maybe refusing entry. They claim that customs just says let the goods come, they collect the taxes first, and then the standards will be sorted out later. That is wrong. I think UNBS, I know it's underfunded and all these issues, but it should fight for its space. Because at the end of the day, the consumer, the public that is suffering, is going to hold them accountable. You see? But also, secondly, we should have a taxation policy that promotes public health. We should not just put money before health. Collect the taxes, but balance the welfare and health of the society. And then lastly, the police. Interpol and the Uganda police, we do cooperate with the Uganda police many times, but you have situations where fake sanitary pads are grabbed and they get lost, the exhibits get lost at the police station. They come back into the system and they affect women in such gross ways that the doctor has talked about. So I think let those who allow these fakes to flood the market, let them know that it has a cost. It is actually affecting us.
Later on in the show, I'll be putting the doctor on spot to pretty much explain to us the implications of using these fake pads and what they might mean to your health, you the lady out there. But before we go for that quick break, I want to first bring in Helga here. And the council has talked about standards. And I'm sure that is something Capstone Investments Limited focuses on as well. How do you tell the consumer out there that what we've manufactured, what we've certified, is what ends up on the market? How do they identify these pads?
We try to make it as easy as possible for these customers to know what to look out for. The packaging of the pads has exactly what materials are in the pad. They have certain signs that you will see that you will not find on a fake pad. Because right now, one of the regulations is that before you import these products, they are pre-verified. So before UNBS even starts to do their own verification, they have verified, they have bodies that they work with where we manufacture from. So it has been verified, they know that it is fit for consumption, so we put certain stamps on it that you not find on a fake. So the packaging has what is in the pad. But also when they open this pad, the packaging has who manufactures this pad.
Thank you very much. You're in charge of sales and marketing. So yes, later on in the show, we shall be discussing how this counterfeit problem bites into your finances and your market share as well. Just to give you a quick feel of how big counterfeit is. But also, I'll come back to the doc so he can tell us what cases he's found, if any, and also what other diseases we might be getting from most of these counterfeit issues. But also, after the break, we have an interesting video of a lady who unfortunately has been one of the consumers of counterfeit pads. You probably want to stick around and know what kind of implications she is struggling with at the moment. Plus, don't miss what the doctor will certainly say after the break.
to Chikubo, Kampala. I bought Ultra Orange Small. I had a very, very nasty experience. I bought feathers from Chikubo again. I thought maybe it was about, maybe it's something about orange that could not bear with my skin. But then when I bought feathers, it turned out to be the same experience. They cause blisters that turn into wounds. It's something that you don't have to tamper with. You cannot put on a knicker. Walking is a problem. Most of my friends are going through the same thing, only that they cannot talk about it. They are silently dying out there. These are products that we are having all over, and it's what we use. Maybe it can affect me in the future, and I don't give birth. I cannot even differentiate genuine from the fake ones. Everything is the same. The packaging is the same. The pricing is the same. The government, they should help us before the importation of this thing, of the products, the sanitary towels. They should know that what they're bringing in is actually genuine.
Well, there you go. Such a sad video, isn't it? Such a very, very sad story. We all go out, spend our money to make sure we go through the day very successfully, and then you have videos like those. Doc, you've seen the lady in the video. Sure. To most of the ladies out there, they might be surprised, especially maybe the men as well. They'll be surprised this is happening. Are you surprised? Have you come across cases like this? And if I could ask you 3 questions pretty much in one, what diseases could we be getting from counterfeit sanitary towels?
Thanks, Andrew. I'm not actually surprised because that and a lot was more than what we've watched. There are a lot of women out there who come out to express their concerns about these products, especially sanitary products. But what I would say is that there is a wide spectrum of problems ranging from short-term to long-term. Most of the short-term problems we've encountered will include minor irritations on the skin because some of these products have got irritants, petroleum products, perfumes, fragrances, fibers, plastics. There's an article I read and say that a single pad was found to contain plastics worth more than 3 or 4 plastic bags. I was surprised, and that's a lot. You're talking about carbon. And
blisters, actually.
They can cause blisters, they can cause burning, they can cause wounds. I've seen women coming with wounds as large as, rib burns from pads. Other things we've noted are vulvar burning. There's what we call vulvodynia. Vulvodynia means recurrent vulvar pain. We've seen women who can't even indulge in sexual intercourse. And when you ask back, they will tell you they will either put on a pant line or a tampon. So we are talking about pads, but they also have a problem with tampons. Pads lie in pants. Tampons are inserted in the vagina, and whatever is in the tampons can easily get absorbed directly into the blood supply. So other things we've come across include infections. Then in the long term, what I would say is that a safe pad is the one which has 100% cotton. And my colleague will I think, tell us later what is exactly contained in those pads. But I don't think we have pads which are ideal and have 100% cotton. Most of the pads have synthetic products which would literally look like cotton. And those which are especially imported have got genetically engineered cotton.
We talk about pads on the show today, but I'll tell you I've had a personal experience, of course not from consumption, but someone has told me of even panty liners. This is an experience where someone used panty liners, and for 2-3 days at work, they were feeling feverish, they were feeling weak, until someone told them about certain panty liners. So when they stopped, they actually got better. So there's so many products that the ladies are using. But before I come back to Helga and change hats, because I want to take the sales and marketing hat off and you put on the female hat, I'll start off with Counsel. You have a research team at SEN, and you've been leading a campaign against sanitary towels as well. What are some of the challenges that you and the research team at SEN have been facing in terms of not just awareness, but also fighting counterfeiting pads?
There are many, but I'll just talk about two. The first one is that many brand owners live in denial of the problem. They will not actively want to participate in market interventions. I have seen this. I speak with authority on it, to first of all acknowledge that their product is being counterfeited, and then secondly to take ownership and responsibility to inform their consumers that, look, there is a problem with this product, this is where you can get the genuine, these are the specifications, and this is what we are doing to fight the fake. You don't see a lot of that. If we can have packaging that appears to be genuine and yet still be counterfeit, you can really see how deep the problem is. It means that it's not enough with the visual aid to look at the packaging to be safe. It means we need to go deeper, and that's why the brand owners need to come up, the consumers need to come up, the regulators to work and address this issue. Because I think if UNBS had done its work in that video, they do verification, they do sampling. I think it is every 500 you check so many samples. It seems that packaging was not sampled. If they had sampled and taken it to the lab and tested the ingredients and chemicals used, it should not have passed. But the other significant thing is that the video is talking about Chikubo, downtown.
Yes.
I think 70% of the trading in the country goes through Chikubo. Now, if Chikubo, where we go, thinking that products are safe, are cheaper, and everybody's going in there, is the hub for the fakes, then where are we going to go?
Yes, yes. Counsel, which really brings me to my next point. I wanted us to open these two so we can explain which specific parts, most of the parts are actually counterfeited. But before we jump here, I want to change your hats. I want to take you away from sales and marketing manager at Capstone Investments and talk to you as a lady now. He talks about almost 70% of our market being down in Chikubo, but that is in Kampala.
More than that.
Yeah, that is in Kampala. There is a very big population of ladies out of Kampala who are 13 plus. What is the situation like on the ground? How much of this problem seems to be going across the country, or the continent as well?
It's actually much bigger. Almost 90% of our trading in this country starts from Chikubo. Because even the people that are up country, Kigunddu, Soroti, come to Kampala, to Chikubo, to buy their merchandise. So actually the parents of these girls have a lot of work to do. Because most of the people that choose pads are between the ages of 13 and above, until about 35, 40. But then the mother of this child will make a decision to buy a pad for her from the age of 13 until when they finish probably age 6. It's as simple as make your list, I do the shopping, you take what I bring. So it is these parents actually be very aware of what they are buying. It's not so much that you're saving money, because you may save money and buy a pack of 1.5 instead of the 3.5 pack, but in the long run, you're affecting your child.
And spending more as a result.
And spending more to treat them for these infections.
Counsel, when I look at the tagline on secrets, it says no one needs to know, which is a beautiful tagline. But shouldn't schools start knowing? Shouldn't these places we're sending our children start knowing? Because, and it's a very big issue where we should also really address the parents. Because why do you get the pads you're giving your girls going to school? Because they don't know. These youngsters don't know. They just pick the pads and solve their problems. But at what point do parents and schools help us solve this problem? Or maybe not just schools, all these other companies that are employing or educating these young girls.
Yes, I want to join her on the submission she made about parents and state that part of the problem is that the parents, especially the mothers, are not displaying sufficient awareness to help the young girls who are in menstrual cycle and need to use these products. Many of them will only respect a list from the school which demands that we need sanitary towels, and that's when they'll buy them. And they will not buy for the child while it is at home during the holidays, aware that this child has no income and is 100% dependent on the parent to buy for her. So that causes a disruption, and it in itself might affect the health of this girl if she gets alternatives, pieces of cloth or whatever. But it will also not promote a culture of proper usage of the towels. You know, it gets a problem there. But I think that this issue, first of all, should not be looked at as a taboo. It should be looked at as a matter of public health, personal health, and individual well-being. Yeah. And I think we should have more and more women coming out. There was a good campaign by Stella Nyanzi to try and help in the provisioning of sanitary pads for the towels for the girl child. Such good gestures can be frustrated, can actually be used as vehicles by the counterfeiters to sneak in the fakes there, so that the Stella Nyanzis of this world who have good intentions actually end up harming the recipients of those pads. So that is why the fight against fake sanitary pads should be a fight for the whole society. We should all be fighting to protect our mothers, our sisters, our wives, our daughters, to ensure that they get adequate but also quality provision of sanitary towels.
Gentlemen and lady, I want us to take another quick break. When we come back, we are going to open these so you can pretty much know what the details in here can look like, and if you're the lady out there, what you should look out for in terms of what is counterfeited. But also, I'll turn to the doctor, and because my biggest fear is most of these ladies might not know they are being affected until it's late. So I want us to discuss those few first stages. What are the symptoms, what are the signs here and there for you to know you could be in trouble, and what the quick treatment actually could be. Because at the end of the day, we don't only spread awareness about counterfeit. If you've been affected by any of those products, we also have the experts who can help you to make sure you get out of any trouble that you actually are in at the moment. It's a special program brought to you by the Anti-Counterfeit Network Africa. We're doing everything within our means to make sure you consume what is genuine. After the break, we're back, plus a way forward.
Biosecurity chemicals are counterfeit.
In 1 week, we lost 21,000 chicken.
Welcome back to this third and final part of a special program about counterfeit, brought to you by the Anti-Counterfeit Network Africa. Now today we are discussing ladies' health. We're discussing sanitary towels, because every lady needs those, and well, now we do find out finally that some of them are counterfeit, meaning we have been in a problem that we probably haven't realized for a very long time. Before we went into the break, and I think before I ask the doc, I'll ask Helga to open one of these for us so we can have a quick detail on where the counterfeit usually comes in the most. First of all, what is the big difference? The different packaging?
Yeah, there are different packaging. This is Secrets. Secrets is mainly for middle to upper market, up-end market. Lily's was specifically manufactured for the bottom of the pyramid. So it is made to be affordable, quality, but affordable, while this is a bit more expensive. Secrets is mostly cotton, 90% cotton, while Lily's has a synthetic bit to it to be able to make it cheaper and affordable, but it's quality. I'll quickly turn to the doctor. Apologies, it's not Chiburi, it's Kisubi Hospital. Yeah, that's right. First of all, the ladies these days, and this is a public secret really, are getting into periods earlier than probably the original research showed. So that means we have so many young children in there who might not have studied so much of this. But more interestingly, what should they look out for? How do we start knowing? Because I have a girlfriend, and I'm saying this for the first time probably on air. I don't know if she's going through this and she doesn't know. I don't know how many of the consumers are having these side effects and they are still in a very infant stage, and probably they're going to come to you late. What is your advice to the consumers out there who are ladies? What should they look out for? Because we do understand some of these side effects come after some time.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew, for that. The first comment is population has changed. We've got a lot more urban girls or ladies or teenagers in reproductive age or puberty. And this compared to previously, where you used to have more of the bigger population of the youth in the rural areas. The reason why we are seeing a lot more young girls starting what you call MENAC. MENAC is the first menstrual flow, as early as 11. Average is supposed to be about 15, at least 15, 13, 15 and above. It's because lifestyle has changed. There's a lot of estrogen on the market, consumed from a variety of things, right from chicken. Most of the chicken we eat is really injected with estrogen. Chicken which grows in 2 weeks,
yes,
all that is estrogen. And science is in a way that for a girl to start her first menstrual flow, she has to attain a certain critical mass, and it is usually about 42 kilos. On average, girls are attaining 42 kilograms as early as 11, sometimes even 8 years. That's why menstrual cycles flow as early as that. And this doesn't stand alone because it comes with a lot more problems. Leave alone the estrogens and the menstrual flow. A lot of estrogens and weight gains, childhood obesity, has a lot of bearing on a lot of adolescent teenage problems, like fibroids. We used to have fibroids at a later age. Now you see fibroids as early as 25 because of estrogen we consume. And this comes down again to counterfeit. Coming back to our sanitary pads, I would want to say that if a woman puts on a pad, or a tampoo and gets any of these symptoms in the first 48 to 72 hours, she should discard the product. Among the common early signs would be irritations, a fake or indoctrinated sanitary product would cause itching. As soon as you put it on, it causes a bit of itching and discomfort, burning. But if you see things like fever, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, dizziness, sometimes we've seen women having a collapse, circulatory collapse, then that is a grave problem because, you know, sanitary pads are meant to absorb. One of the best qualities, as she will tell us, is absorbance. They are meant to absorb menstrual flow to a volume about, you know, every pad should absorb about 35 mils. But if a woman has a bigger flow of more than 35 mils, you would imagine that the soak is quite significant. And blood, per se, is the best culture media that you've ever got for bacteria, the best culture media, the best food. So if a woman gets dizzy, they have headache, they feel joint aches, sometimes they get redness in the palms and feet, they should really discard the product.
Helga, I'll quickly come to you. He talks about 6 hours, so I would want in your explanation to as well pass on some information, especially to the young ladies who might not have had enough of this education.
It's very healthy and very advisable that a woman, a lady, a girl wears a pad for at most 6 hours. Anything beyond 6 hours, you're starting to get onto that thin line of unhealthy. By 6 hours, it doesn't matter what kind of flow you have, because women have different flows. There are those with heavy flow or with light flow. So you find that there's a girl in P7 in her periods using Ultra, and a girl who is in S2 using Maxi, different flows, but same thing. 6 hours, you have to change your pad. Now, most people want to cut costs because changing your pad every 6 hours means in a day, you will use about 4 pads. And a pack of pads has 8 pieces. Those are already 2 packs. That's about 7,000 shillings every time you go into your periods, or more, depending on your flow. Because there are women who have very heavy flow, and every 2 hours, they are changing their pad to feel comfortable. A pad is supposed to stay dry. So when you wear a pad and you begin to feel wet, even if you don't stay in your dress, remove it, change, because you've overused that pad. So it has to give you a dry feeling, and like when you look at this, it's individually wrapped. If you go to buy pads and you find a pad that is 1,500 and you can't even pronounce its name, it's I mean, it's cheap, but you can't pronounce the name, then first take a sit back. Like I said, parents have a very big role to play because they buy these pads for these girls. I've had chats with women who don't earn much, and they will tell you for them, they use pieces of cloth. But because now schools are demanding for pads, they'll go and buy what's there, so that girl can go to school and not be chased away. But it's advisable that as a mother, buy for your child what you have used.
Let's open them and we can talk about the specific parts that we think are mostly
for comfort.
open
Yeah, one of them is actually the individual wrap, because then during disposal they wrap the used pad in this, because then they will remove it to use it. It has to be able to stick on the underwear, so that's the glue at the back to keep it in place. It has wings.
It can fly.
Wings that hold then at the back of the pad of the underwear to make it comfortable. So if it holds in place, then that girl can go on doing anything she wants. She won't be worried the pad will probably fall out if she jumps in class or stands up, all that stuff. So a parent or whoever is buying, look out for such things.
Quality
The
is
quality
everything.
of the pad. Doctor talked about cotton. I mean, we cannot actually completely avoid the chemicals, because to actually make this cotton to be this thin and yet absorbent, you'll have to have a certain amount of cotton in it. But it is actually medically proven amounts. Now, most of the counterfeits will go for the unproven amounts because they are cheaper. I mean, chlorine, it's there.
Cheap alternatives.
A cheap alternative, so that they can be able to make their pad cheap.
Counsel, I want us to wrap. And I want to ask you two questions in one. One of those is our way forward, and by way forward I mean you talk about UNBS, talk about the different traders. How do we make sure, from a legal side, how do we make sure government steps in and make sure our ladies are very safe out there? But the one I want you to start off with is they're quite expensive. They are quite expensive, and we talk about populations here in town. We forget populations, and with all respect, in Karamoja, in all these deep places where they don't have this much money. That's the reason they are going for the cheap ones. We must find a way around it.
Andrew, there is a gentleman, a father, who told his son that he is not so rich to buy counterfeits. Looks ironical, because counterfeits are supposed to be rich. I mean, supposed to be cheap. What he was meaning is that in the long run, a counterfeit product, though initially cheap, it costs you much more. If the authorities can protect the market, the consumer public, and allow them access to the genuine products, then we can have a reduction in price of those genuine products. Otherwise, the fakes are unfairly. It's not fair competition. They are bringing in fakes, putting them at a lower price, and beating the genuine guys at it. But for me, my conclusion is this. Many years ago, the government of Uganda embraced PIVOC, which is the pre-export verification of goods, meaning that the inspection of the goods is done from the country of origin of the goods before here, because we realized we had weaknesses here. The reason why we have fake sanitary pads and other products, the way you saw in the video, is because the goods are still coming in. Yet we have pre-export inspection. So what does that mean? Somebody somewhere in UNBS circles or customs circles is allowing these fake products to come in without the PIVOC certificate. And then they are being released into Chikubo and the market. So UNBS and customs should do their work, because there is no reason why we should have the fakes to the level we do in Chikubo, for example, when we've signed on PIVOC. So for me, I feel, and then the last thing would be, many of these guys, as a legal practitioner, I see this, many of these guys who import the fakes, when the goods are impounded by UNBS or customs and so on, they tend to go to court, and then they will try to get a court order to get the goods released. The appeal to the courts is, we have seen the dangers of these fake products to the ladies and to society. I think the courts should exercise caution. Can they get an expert opinion from somebody who is aware of the consequences of these products on the health of society before an order is actually issued to release the goods? Because many times UNBS is holding the goods, or police is holding the goods, or customs, and somebody comes flashing a court order saying the court has ordered, let the goods be released, and they are released into circulation. But the judge or magistrate who issued the order, are they really aware that they have released goods which will come onto the market and probably find them in the supermarket, because they might be victims themselves? buying these fake products
Yes.
and then falling sick in the process. So can we have that awareness and that consciousness in all sectors? It's not just the job of UNBS, it's everybody's job to ensure we're safe.
Dr. Spire, I want a quick conclusion from you as well. Whether it's pads or everything consumed by ladies, from your perspective and from your career as well, from your profession, what should we look out for? Because we must move forward, we must keep healthy, we must keep safe.
First of all, I want to thank Counterfeit Africa. I think you've done a good job for putting out this point of discussion. There are many other products, including drugs, the things we put on, the things we feed on. So there are many counterfeits out there which are affecting our population. It is very true that the population has, the burden of disease has actually changed. We used to have a lot of infectious diseases. Now we are having a lot of non-communicable diseases. Why? Probably we are taking in a lot of junk and counterfeit things that are affecting our bodies in the long run. I want to say that the government should do its job. I think it is difficult for the population to deal with what is on market because, you know, almost 60% of the population is illiterate. They wouldn't clearly be able to tell what is counterfeit and what is right because it is very difficult even on the eye. I think the regulated bodies, the Minister of Health, the UNBS and the rest should really come out to protect the population because it's the primary role of protection and advocacy is the government. And then to the ladies out there, I think you are your own security. Try and make sure that you use the right products on market. Avoid as much as I said earlier, that what you cannot put in your mouth,
don't put on your skin.
Don't put on your skin. Whether it is cosmetics, whether it is hygienic, these sanitary products, kindly try to take care of your lives because most of the effects are long-term, accumulatory.
Thank you very much. Helga, I've got just 1 minute to wrap up. Please speak to the ladies out there and speak to the gentlemen as well. We've discussed what we should look out for in pads, but give them the general spectrum of what kind of problem we're in today. And also maybe try and emphasize what we should look out for every time we get packs like this to make sure our health is catered for moving forward.
The biggest takeaway is that this is an issue that should be openly discussed. We try to do as much awareness as possible in schools, starting from primary schools to secondary schools. But mainly, the parents have a big role to play. They should interact with their daughters on these issues. Ask them, if I bought you this pack, how did you feel using it? Was it good? When you're buying these packs, look out for the expiry dates. Look out for what it says. Read. Don't just pick up the pack. It has what the contents are, who it's manufactured for. You will see specifically manufactured for Capstone Investments, and this is their number if you want to reach them in case of anything. Buy from a trusted source. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Counsel Muwema, thank you very much, as always.
Pleasure.
Helga, thank you very, very, very much. Really appreciate. Dr. Kigunddu, such a pleasure, especially with your angle of discussion. Thank you very much as well for joining us today. The question still goes all over the place. Where are you buying your products from? How sure these products are very genuine? Take a second off your very busy schedule and look at details on those packages. You need to consume what is genuine because at the end of the day, we all are in the same boat. We all are facing counterfeit every single day. And that means one thing and one thing only. We are going to suffer very big repercussions from consuming products like this. It's a special program brought to you by the Anti-Counterfeit Network Africa, and we are shedding more light on the bigger problem that is counterfeit. We end by saying, don't be fake. Buy and sell what is genuine.